Hudson here with Planet 4 Gaming. I'm flying the Spitfire Mark 1A. Originally I was going to make this video a comparison between this plane and the BF-109E3, since they're both 2.7 battle rating fighters that are both pretty easy and fun to fly, and because Dunkirk was out, it was kind of the two planes in Dunkirk. I don't know if Dunkirk has the 109E3, but it has the same yellow and gray camo, which, by the way, is not historically accurate. They, as far as I know, did not start putting yellow noses on the 109 until the Battle of Britain. But, disregarding that, it is pretty accurate to the movie. So I was going to do that, but I realized pretty quickly that I like the 109 a lot more. I don't think it's the better plane, but it's more fun, and there's a little bit more skill involved in flying it, so I figured I would make a much longer, more in-depth video on that, and then kind of just do a quicker one on the Spitfire, since it's so easy and there's a million Spitfires and they all fly pretty much the same and everyone knows how that goes. So, with that in mind, what are the few things you should know about the Spitfire if you're not every War Thunder player ever who knows exactly everything about it? Well, it's a good turn fighter, not really an energy fighter. It used to rip its wings really easy in high G maneuvers at high speed. That has been alleviated quite a bit now. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago it would be really sensitive, whereas now you can perform a bit more violent maneuvers, harder turns at higher speeds, and not have to worry as much. Really the only weird quirk is the float carburetor, so if you fly inverted or do a dive that causes too much negative G's, you'll end up choking the engine out. It's not really that bad in the game. Apparently in real life it was deadly and could cause crashes very easily, but in War Thunder you kind of just lose power for 2 seconds. It is a little bit more temperamental than some planes in the game with float carburetors. The Typhoon has it, and it is a lot more forgiving in that plane than it is in the early Spitfires. Not very good roll rate, pretty good climb rate, but not good high altitude performance. Good top speed for the battle rating, and decent armament actually. 8 303 Brownings. They are not bad as long as you have stealth ammo on. I was using Universal before that, and it is absolutely terrible. Universal was so bad. I mean, you would just put round after round after round into enemy fighters and not really do anything. A lot of the times it would cause fuel leaks, but that would be it. Not really damage to control surfaces, which is actually what kills planes. And if you were very lucky, it would start a fire, and that would result in most of your kills. But with stealth ammo, you can rip off wings, damage tail control, cause fires still, and much more likely to do so. So that is what I recommend with that plane. And with that in mind, we'll get into a full game now, because really that's all the information you need to know. So we're doing alternate history, fighting the Russians with US on our side. And I climbed to a reasonable altitude. 3,000 meters is about all you need to do in these early matches, so that's what I did. And we're just going to try and find a good target. I thought pretty much everything was below me, but looks like Slime Dude is at relative equal altitude to me, so I'm going to turn on him, open fire with the Brownings, get a small hit there. Nothing to do any real damage though, and I'm just going to keep following him. As you can see, the Spitfire can stay glued onto the tail of a Yak-9 no problem, and a good solid burst takes off his wing. I would not have been able to do that with Universal ammo, if memory serves me correctly. And I actually much prefer any belt with tracers over stealth ammo, but it's just so much better on a lot of planes, you really can't do anything else. Diving pass on that biplane. A Yak 7 is on my tail, I believe. Or maybe it was that Yak 1. So I'm going to go after him. In any case, there was a Yak on my tail. I was aware of him, but I knew I had friendlies in the area, hoping they could take him out. Gonna turn back on this Yak 1's tail. Much like the Zero, the Spitfire can do a pretty good 180 without losing much speed, and you can still be on your enemy's tail while being able to still outrun him. The mark of a very OP plane. And as he levels out and stops maneuvering, I get the perfect opportunity to set him on fire. You really can't stay in front of these 8 Brownings for too long without maneuvering defensively, because they will shred your plane pretty quick. They're not cannons, but the upside to machine guns is they don't really have the tendency to spark and just do no damage. Whereas cannons will often spark, but you do have the chance of doing a really quick burst that can absolutely devastate an enemy plane. With the Browning, it's more like a decently timed burst has basically a guarantee of doing critical damage that will cripple or possibly kill an enemy plane. I don't really know which is better. I would prefer a game without sparks, because I think it's ridiculous bullshit, but that's just the state of this game. And that IL-2M, that's a model with a tail gunner, so I was a little bit concerned about latching onto his tail. Tail guns have been very effective in recent patches, I've found. It's more on bombers with multiple guns, though, especially American bombers with 50 cals. And some of the German ones, like the Me-410, is actually pretty effective with its tail guns. I think they fixed the way they aim recently, whereas before one was like offset and they wouldn't line up right. They weren't lining up to where the aiming reticle was. Nowadays, they're very accurate, have a good rate of fire, and they can fuck your plane up. So, this last guy was in an AR-2. I climbed to about 1,000 meters. I figured he was at their base, so I was just circling a bit. I could see the dot on the runway, and one of my allies wasted his Avenger order. I'm like, you didn't really need to do that, bud. But I wasn't going to call out his location either, because I want to get the kill. I don't want to alert any of my friendlies to his whereabouts. So I'm going to dive. He is actually not camping his airfield. He's going to egress from his airfield and try and find some good targets. I don't think I used egress correctly here, but anyway, that's not really a bad strategy. I mean, I obviously don't condone playing like a bitch and circling the airfield, but the AR-2 is a plane where you really don't need to do that most of the time. It's a pretty robust plane with a good defensive armament. The 7.62s are very effective, and it can actually maneuver almost as good as some fighters, at least turn time wise. Roll rate, no, but gonna approach him head on, slightly offset, aim for the cockpit, and that goes very well. I also set an engine on fire, so if I did not kill his pilot, that thing is a absolute fireball right now. It looks like the Tunguska fireball crashing into Siberia. And that'll do it for this game. Ace game, 5 kills. Very, very casual. Flying the Spitfire is not difficult at all. That's why I really didn't feel like going in depth with it. It's just such an easy plane to do well in if you're experienced, or to pick up if you're inexperienced. Very forgiving armament, good turn time, which makes it good for more aggressive players or inexperienced pilots who aren't really familiar with energy fighting. It is really just all around a very good plane. Bordering on OP, but I don't really think it should be bumped up much higher. I mean, it's fighting realistic enemies. The early 109s are what it would fight in real life. The P40 and Yak 1, Yak 9 are pretty even contemporaries to it. And it can see the MC202 and C205, which C205 is quite a bit better, I would say, and the C202 is pretty even, so it's about where it should be. It's just a very easy plane to learn, and that's what makes it so successful in this game. So that's really all I need to cover right now. The Spitfire is pretty straightforward. Look forward to my next video where I'll be flying the 109E3. That's a little bit more complicated of a plane, makes for more interesting gameplay, and I think it should be a much more fun video. So yeah, let me know if you think that's going to be a good one, because I don't really, well, I'm making it either way, so whatever, I don't give a fuck. This has been Hudson with P4G. Thank you for watching, and get the fuck out of here.